Yo, what's going on YouTube? How you guys doing? So for this video, I want to just try to quickly and briefly, which for me usually means like 20 minutes. I want to try to quickly and briefly as possible give my thoughts on the new chapter, the new killer, I should say in particular. Less so about the rest of the things in the chapter, although I can briefly touch on them as well. But I really want to focus on the new killer because I think that's really like the most impactful part of the new chapter. Now, usually I take some time, like a long time, before I really start giving like firm thoughts about a killer. Like, for instance, with the artist release, I didn't really give any firm thoughts one way or the other as far as how strong she was or weak she was or what might need to be changed about her power, because I feel like with a lot of killers, they're kind of complicated, and it takes a long time to maybe fully understand their power and fully understand how to use it properly and what all they can do and what all they can't do and so on and so forth. But honestly, with this killer, who I'm just gonna call the Onryo, I don't even know if I'm saying it right. The ring girl. With the ring girl, I don't know, man. I feel like I literally already can tell what's going on. Like, she's a pretty simple, straightforward killer. I don't really feel like there's gonna be any like super secret crazy things that come out in the next like week or so that's going to change my mind about how strong she is or how she interacts with survivors. So I'm just going to give my thoughts now, the next day. Fuck it. So I just want to start off by saying that I do like the new killer. And as a matter of fact, I like pretty much everything about the entire chapter. I think the perks are interesting on both sides. I don't think any of them are extremely annoying. I think it's all pretty neat, right? Like, I can go into more details about the new perks and everything later on if you guys would like, but I just, generally speaking, my general opinion is that I like it all. There's nothing really about the chapter that I dislike, like, heavily, right? There's nothing I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna have to deal with this all the time now, right? It's all pretty fun, I think. Now, the killer herself, I would say, is relatively weak. She's on the weak side. You guys probably heard me talking about it in the video if you watched me do my gameplay video that I did yesterday where I tried her for the very first time. My opinion never really changed, right? The more I played her, my opinion never really changed. I still think she's a very weak killer. When people were asking me today to put her in a tier list, usually I don't tier list killers on like their first day because, again, I'm usually not that confident, but I'm actually very confident that this killer is around like a B or C tier killer and not really any better. I think that's like as far as she goes right now. The main reason for this, and to sum this up as quickly as I can, is because she really just doesn't have anything to help her in chase at all, really, right? So if you go against survivors that are very good at looping and also know how to play around your power, at least even a little bit, you just really struggle to down people, right? And you can teleport around the map all you want and you can be everywhere at once all you want, but if you get there and then every time you get there you end up getting looped for like a minute straight, then you're never really going to create enough pressure to stop the gens from getting done. So she just can't really create the pressure, even though she's mobile, right? Mobility does not really equal map pressure. A lot of people say like, oh well, she doesn't have the chase potential, but she can get around the map really well, and it's like that doesn't really matter if the survivors aren't going down, right? If you're not actually downing survivors, then all you can really do is chase one of them at a time while the three others are just doing gens, right? Or maybe healing for like 16 seconds before they do gens. Like, maybe they quickly heal, but usually they're going to be doing gens. Now, again, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with them having a killer that doesn't have any chase potential because, as a matter of fact, I think if anything, they've been releasing killers lately that have too much chase potential. I think it's been a major issue that Behavior has been doing lately where, like, every killer that comes out seems like they're kind of the same killer. A lot of people have been, like, memeing about it, like, oh boy, I can't wait for the next killer to be another short to medium range killer that can hit you through pallets and walls and windows, because that's kind of been how their killers have been. People like Nemi, people like Pyramid Head, people like Deathslinger, they're all, like, relatively similar in the fact that they just have like this like short to medium range attack that can basically make looping impossible. So the idea of this killer now being the opposite, where she kind of like abides by the rules of chases, she doesn't really have anything that makes her oppressive, but also she has crazy mobility, is really cool. I like it. I think it's really fun. It sounds like a super fun concept and I like it. Even though it feels weak, I still really enjoy it a lot. I enjoy it even though it's weak. And I think that's what makes the chapter a good chapter, or I should say potentially a good chapter, because I do think that there is one thing wrong with this killer and her power that I think needs to be addressed, because I think that's what's important about this chapter is that she stays fun, right? I don't think that they should buff her and make her some crazy strong OP killer. I think it's fine. Not every killer needs to be crazy OP. But the thing about it is that if she's not going to be super strong, she needs to at least be consistently fun. Now, I was playing a lot of matches on the PTB, and most of the matches were a lot of fun. I had a blast playing her the majority of the time. But it seems like there's a certain strategy that survivors were starting to develop, and I imagine it's going to become more and more popular as more people learn how effective it is, that kind of makes her less fun and also just kind of is really strong against her. Before I say what it is, I'll quickly explain how her Condemn thing works. She has a mechanic in her power called Condemn. She can basically put Condemn stacks on you. Essentially, there's TVs around the map. I think there's 7. I think there's 1 for each generator. And essentially, if the TV is on, she can teleport to the TV and come out of it. But the survivors can turn them off themselves and take out the videotape, and then they carry the videotape on their person, and they can go around turning off multiple TVs, and then once they have a tape in their possession, there's one TV that gets highlighted to them and it stays highlighted to them. And if they go drop off the tape into that TV, it like removes 4 Condemn stacks. And it takes 7, okay? It removes 4 stacks and it takes 7 for them to get to full Condemn. When they get to full Condemn, they're able to be moried whenever they get down. So it's like you don't want to get the max stacks of Condemn because then you're killable. So obviously you don't want to get the max stacks of Condemn. And then there's also this system, right, where there's like a back and forth where you gain stacks and you also lose stacks by taking a tape and delivering it to a certain, TV every once in a while. Also, if the killer teleports out of a TV within 16 meters of you, you also gain 1 stack of Condemned as well. Every TV you turn off also gives you 1 stack. And also, while you're holding on to the tape, you slowly gain progress over time of your Condemn. Somebody told me, I don't know how accurate this is, somebody told me that it takes 300 seconds to get to maximum Condemn just by grabbing a tape and then holding it. I don't know how accurate that is, so take that however you want. So assuming that these numbers are correct and like the math is all correct and everything, that means that you get a stack of Condemn every 50 seconds that you're holding a videotape, which again, I don't know if it's true, but it feels true. It feels right because this is kind of all leading to the point that I'm trying to make. Essentially, the thing that people have been doing that kind of has been making the killer less enjoyable for me is that survivors have learned that every generator has its own TV nearby. And the strat that they do is they basically just grab the tape out of the TV that's near the generator before they start doing the gen, and then they just work on the gen, right? And what that does is it takes away your ability as the killer to teleport to that gen, which sucks, right? It takes away a big chunk of your power. And then also, the amount of Condemn that they gather while holding on to the tape isn't really that significant, right? Like they can do an entire gen from start to finish and gain about like a stack and a half of Condemn, and that's it. It's not really that big of a deal. And it doesn't really take much effort to get rid of your Condemn either. Because again, there's a highlighted TV somewhere on the map. Yeah, you have to travel to it, right? Like you have to spend travel time going to it. But even once you get there, it's like a 2-second interaction. You can really do it mid-chase if you want to. You can like stun the killer with a pallet and then pop it in like during like the stun basically. Like it's not that hard to get rid of Condemn at all. It's really not that concerning to even have Condemn stacks really like at all. On top of that, when a survivor turns off a TV, I'm pretty sure it stays down for 60 seconds. And if you teleport out of one, it stays off for 100 seconds. So, like, when a TV goes down, it's usually down for a while. And I know a minute might not seem like much, but, I mean, that's enough for practically the whole gen to get done. And, a lot can get done in a minute of Dead by Daylight. So this is where the problem kind of lies on my end. I feel like this entire interaction of like turning off TVs and then turning back on and taking the videotapes out and gathering Condemn for it and kind of having like this like back and forth of turning on and off TVs and, denying the killer her power by turning off TVs. It just feels way too heavily in like the survivor's favor, I feel like. Like it doesn't really feel like you're very threatened by doing it, right? Like you can basically deny her power and not really even feel that threatened in the process. And as killer, it just feels really bad because again, you don't really have a super strong chase, right? Like you have like a very like Wraith style ability where you can like cloak and uncloak. You can basically like go into stealth and come out of stealth over and over again, right? So like, obviously that's a whole separate part of her ability, but the real fun thing about playing the killer is like the mobility, right? Being able to teleport, you using your map mobility. And it feels like it's just really easy for survivors to effectively take that away in a very powerful way with very, very little like downside on their side whatsoever. And don't get me wrong, obviously you can like use this as a way of tracking and stuff too, right? Like if you see a gen across the map that doesn't have a TV lit up and you know that you haven't turned it off yourself, you can be like, okay, well, they're probably doing that gen. But even still, even if you know that, right? Like that's good tracking information or whatever, but then what? You got to like either teleport to like the nearest one, which is usually still like 30 meters out, or you have to run your dumbass over there as a 4.6 killer, and then by the time you get there, they can just start looping. Like you're basically Wraith, right? You're basically just Wraith, but you're like slower while cloaked, essentially, And it's just not very good. So that's my biggest gripe. I've tested this as both killer and survivor. I played killer a bunch last night. I'm guessing last night from when I'm going to put this out. Yeah, last night from when I'm putting this out, I played killer a bunch. I played against groups that did this. I played against groups that didn't do this. And I'll say, there was groups of survivors that didn't do the strategy, right? There was groups of survivors that didn't turn off the TVs and just did gens instead. And even when they were like pretty good survivors, right? Like they were pretty good at looping, and they weren't like bad survivors. Like they were pretty decent. I had a blast. Like I lost, I got my ass kicked, but I had a blast getting my ass kicked because I was able to actually use my power a bunch. I was able to like try to use it tactically to like cut them off and chase. I was able to like be everywhere at once and, you know, be super active with teleporting and stuff. It felt great. Like the killer felt great, even when I didn't perform super well. But likewise, when I found survivors that were turning off the TVs every single time they would do a gen and kind of like deny my power throughout the whole match while also never getting anywhere near maximum condemn, it just kind of, I don't know, it just felt like I was playing a worse Wraith, and I just didn't really enjoy it too much. And it sucks too because again, I saw the potential in her kit to be fun, and it just felt like this weird interaction with TVs was just kind of taking that away in a way that just feels unnecessary, right? Like it feels so easily changeable. So yeah, I don't really know exactly how it should be changed. I mean, I'm actually curious to know your guys' thoughts. There's a lot of things they could do here, but I just wanted to express what my problem was, I guess. This is like my only problem, by the way. Other than this, again, love this chapter. I think this chapter is great. I'm a big fan of it overall. This is like the one concern I have, and I would like to make it vocal because I would love to see the devs change it, right? Or just do something, right? I don't really have a proposed change exactly. So if you guys want to give your thoughts or whatever, feel free. Like obviously they can do things like I guess the most boring one would be just to make the condemn go up faster while you're holding a videotape. That way you actually have to be concerned with getting rid of it, right? Like that's one way to do it. You can like maybe hit the survivors with like some kind of a status effect while they're holding a videotape. Maybe, I mean, like this is a stupid idea, but you can maybe make it like if a survivor stays within 16 meters of a TV after they take the tape out of it, then it like automatically turns back on if they don't leave a 16-meter radius of it in the next like 10 seconds or something. I don't know. Just like something to kind of like break up that gameplay that is going on where they basically just deny your power and then sit on gens, and then there's really no way to stop them other than running over, you know what I mean? Like it just makes you feel like a bad 4.6 killer that doesn't really have anything other than like their occasional dropping in and out of stealth, you know? And I just want it to be better. I just want to be able to use my power more. That's basically all I'm asking. I want to be able to use my power more. And if survivors are going to go out of their way to like completely deny my power, I want them to really, really feel punished for doing so, right? I don't want them to feel like they could deny my power and just be like, yeah, whatever, I'll just sit on gens and not really care. Like I want them to really feel punished for doing so if they're going to do it. So yeah, anyway, that's it for this video. Feel free to give me guys' suggestions, and you know, feel free to make this opinion. If you guys share this opinion, like if this is something that you guys agree with and you share this opinion, let it be known. Share it everywhere. I mean, like the devs pay attention to feedback. That's what the PTB is for, right? The PTB is for feedback. So if this is something that you agree with, shout it everywhere, man. I mean, you don't even have to necessarily shout out this video, okay? I'm not trying to sell out and get more views. Just give the opinion, please. I just want this killer to be fun. That's all I care about. I just want the killer to be good and enjoyable. I think she has potential, and it makes me sad to see that she's so close, but just not quite there. So yeah, share it everywhere. Share it on the forum, share it on Twitter, share it anywhere you want. Just like let the opinion be known. And I would love to see what kind of ideas you can come up with to also fix this problem, because I think it could be really interesting. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, love this chapter. Everything else about the chapter is amazing. I'm overall really happy with it. Let me know your thoughts. Like the video if you guys liked it. Subscribe if you want as well, or don't. Doesn't matter. And thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of your night. I'm out of here. See ya. Take care. See ya. See you later. See ya.